you know what the what the American dream is? The American dream used to be things like, you know, coming to like starting from nothing and making it in life. You know what I'm saying? Becoming rich and famous. It used to be about things like that. However you did it. But what if I told you that the American dream now, in 2026, the American dream is dumb or is being dumb. It's not becoming, making it like off of the sweat off your own cuff, whatever. It's actually about just being dumb now. Or at least that's what this content creator named Moon believes. And we're gonna check out his video and find out why. Like, links will be in the description below. Let me know what you think.
Books did you read last year? How many books did you read last year? If you're like 40% of British people, the answer is 0. And it's not really like the other 60% are avid readers either. Even college students whose entire job is to study aren't actually reading books. Professors across the US are teaching classes to students who can't read full books anymore.
Also, honestly, I don't think I read any books last year. Oh, no, maybe about 1 or 2. No, okay, 3. 3, yeah. About 3.
This is a massive neon sign that we're plummeting towards idiocracy. And soon, kids aren't going to be able to read at all.
So yesterday I came to the realization my students can't read. That is the tragic truth. And I struggle with being told that I have to focus on certain standards on grade level text when my kids are not reading grade level.
40% of American 4th graders are below a minimum basic level of reading comprehension. Test scores have been plummeting for years, and kids literally can't sit still in class or understand basic instructions. It's almost like there's something distracting them.
God damn, bro. It's like super ADHD now. It's ADHD. Well, I guess that's just brain rot, pretty much. They can't even pay attention to class for a bit. They just go immediately to like, damn, I gotta press something. The visuals in class aren't changing like they do on screen. Real life sucks.
Mind-numbing, isn't it? Well, this is exactly the problem. For years now, teachers have been reporting massive...
I feel slightly dumber just watching that little clip right there. Like, ugh, my head hurts. That was, oof. So that's what brain rot is like, huh? When you consume it, like, at all. Ugh.
Problems with behavior, making stories like this all too common. In a comment on the teachers subreddit, a user described their middle school students in a truly dystopian way. Literally all my middle schoolers want to talk about are TikTok trends and memes. That's it. My school prohibits phones from the first homeroom bell to the dismissal bell. As soon as the bell rings at the end of the day, they're pulling their phones out of their bags and scrolling TikTok as they walk out of the door. They literally don't know how to function without it. It's scary.
Maybe we should have banned TikTok. Maybe America should have banned TikTok after all.
Other teachers chimed in with their own.
But then something else would have popped up to take its spot, and we'd still be where we are right now. Like it really does start with like parents at home. They need to actually raise their kids. Like a lot of parents will just hand their kids a tablet or a phone or something to keep the kid's attention, and they'll just like leave it at that, and the kid starts the brain rot as a developing child. That's terrible. And parents rarely just interact with their kids and play with them and try to teach them things as they grow. It's terrible parenting, bro. And then kids get to school and they can't read, they can't learn to read, they can't pay attention in school, they can't do anything that they need to in order to start being a productive citizen in the world, instead of just like some brain rotted kid. This is terrible. Like parents need to start raising their kids actually. And also, like, if your kid is acting up, whoop they ass. Teach them some manners and shit so that when they come out into like the adult world, we don't have to deal with them. Because if we have to deal with them, who knows what's gonna happen to that kid?
Similar experiences. We took the kids to Knott's Berry Farm and they were just on their phones the entire time. A lot of them didn't ride any rides. I had multiple kids tell me their favorite part was the 5-hour bus ride there because they got to be on their phones the whole time.
God damn. What if they made kid phones that specifically for kids but like the phone died after like 3 hours?
Insane.
Children are put on a tablet, they're put on a TV screen, they have phones at the right age of 6 and 7. They don't read anything, they don't watch regular TV, they don't see commercials. They are glued to a screen 24/7 with instant gratification. They don't know how to be bored, they don't know how to use their imagination.
I heard they also stopped teaching how to write in cursive.
Social media has poisoned kids' brains so badly to the point that actual roller coasters are less interesting than the dopamine dispensers in their pockets.
Students are not reading anymore. They're not reading on their own. They're not reading for class assignments. I stopped giving independent reading because students were just not doing it and were happy to take the 0 or the F or the D in order to not read the book. So they were actively trying not to read anything.
Now that the cat's out of the bag, no social media ban for kids is ever going to reverse this process. But the truly awful thing here is that this was all planned.
What?
But before we continue, here's a quick...
Wait. So the dumbing down of society, the idiocracy of society is planned? I mean, honestly, I believe it because, companies want drones. They want people that will just turn Big Rock into Little Rock. They want people that will just come in, do their job, and leave. And they want to replace them over and over and over and over again. When that person like dies off or whatever, works their life to the grind, the bone, until it's nothing, and they're too old to actually enjoy their life. That's why I refuse working 9 to 5, bro. I'm getting out of this shit. I'm getting out of this fucking loop somehow, some way. I don't give a shit, bro. Somehow, some way, I am getting out of this fucking daily loop, boring ass grind where it's just wake up, go to work, come home, eat, maybe eat, stream, and fucking go to sleep so I can wake up in time to go to work again. I don't want to do that shit anymore, bro. I'd rather just like stream the entire day or enjoy my day however fuck I want, like I can on my weekends. I want to be able to do that 24/7, 365, 366 on a leap year. There is no way that I want to be stuck in a 9 to 5 job until working for someone else, doing things for someone else, making money for someone else, and getting like a very small percentage of that cut, and just to survive in a barely survivable environment without 2 incomes. Like, I'm not trying to do that shit, bro. Not. But to those who do that shit, props to you. But I cannot do that shit, bro. I'd rather self-delete. I'm not gonna lie.
Word from today's sponsor. You see, most people think the hard part of quitting smoking or vaping is the nicotine, but
Fuck
it really
cigarettes.
isn't. It's the habit,
Fuck cigarettes, smoke weed instead.
and reaching up, the thing in your mouth, the pause in the day. Nicotine clears your system in about 72 hours. The hand-to-mouth loop sticks for years. That's why patches and gums so often fail, as they replace the chemistry and not the ritual. However, Fume is a flavored air device that breaks the actual loop. There's no nicotine, no vapor, no batteries. Just a weighted, twisty piece of wood with replaceable flavor cores. You draw through it, get a hit of natural flavor, and your hand-to-mouth habit gets satisfied without any of the chemistry you're trying to get away from. The flavors are deliberately lighter than vaping. Think flavored water.
Either don't smoke cigarettes. Either smoke Fume or weed instead.
versus soda. Personally, for me, crisp mint
Hey, what
is
up,
the
Gutsy?
tastiest
How you
and
doing,
the
bro?
strongest. And then
We're
there's
having a
also
good morning,
the
afternoon,
raspberry
evening,
tang
night,
one
all
on the
the above.
sweeter end, which is also delicious. I keep one on my desk and reach for it whenever the moment hits. If you want to check it out for yourself, head to tryfume.com and use code MOON to get a free fume topper with your journey pack. Just make sure to use the link in the description below. Now, it might have began as a side effect, but it became an intended consequence. Brain rot is just one part of the puzzle. If unleashing the digital equivalent of crack cocaine onto the nation's children wasn't enough, the US also embraced a system that completely failed to actually teach children how to read.
You know what? I'm actually surprised that that YouTube is like cracking down on AI content. Like if it's just if it's not actually, if it's just repetitive AI bullshit, they'll like demonetize that channel. And I'm actually surprised because that is like one of the best ways to give a kid a brain rot. And so go YouTube, even though there's still other ways to like give people brain rot. There's plenty of ways, but at least they did that. They prevented that. But it's only because they didn't want to pay those channels. Like they don't ban those channels. They just demonetize them. They just don't want to pay those channels so they can make easy money. You feel me? Like if they're gonna use, you can use AI on YouTube, but if you're gonna use it, it has to be it has to actually have some change to it. It can't be some repetitive type bullshit.
Meanwhile, the tech oligarchs have taken over control of the news people watch, the social media sites that they use, and they've even gutted the education system, just when it was most needed. Put together all of these pieces and system, just
Plus, Doge puts nearly $1 billion in U.S. Education Department's research office.
when it was most needed. Put together all of these pieces and the picture becomes clear. We're rocketing towards idiocracy. This isn't the first time the education system has been designed to suit their own interests. Public schooling and education has always had a purpose outside of actual education.
Do you know Paul Gaudy?
No.
Okay, Gaudy, I hope I have his name right. He was Teacher of the Year in New York State a number of years. He was no admirer of the current education system, let's say. And he wrote a history of the education system, which was extremely interesting. The Prussians established the first public education system. And the reason they did it was because the Prussian emperor wanted to produce obedient soldiers, you know, disciplined, obedient soldiers. Now that was adopted in the United States in the late 1800s by industrialists, mostly. All sorts of rural people were pouring into the cities to start working in factories. Their kids needed to be...
That's Jordan Peterson, by the way, I believe. Oh yeah, see at the bottom left on their screen. Jordan B. Peterson clips.
Cared for while they worked, and then their kids were likely to have factory jobs. And so the purpose of the public education system, and this is why there's rows of desks and factory bells and this insistence on timing, was to produce disciplined, obedient workers.
Men like Rockefeller and Carnegie, whose names are still all over the public education system, weren't purely motivated by the good of the nation. They wanted to shape...
Watch the new Asmongold video, please. Maybe, but I'm in the middle of something right now.
The next generation to fit the needs of their machines. In this case, they were men who followed strict time schedules and who would be able to work the machines they were assigned to. Rockefeller is often quoted as saying, "I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers."
Thank you for being understanding. But yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. They don't governments don't want nations of thinkers, they want nations of workers. When honestly, I think a nation of thinkers would be great, because think how many inventions people could come up with, how many creative ideas people come up with. Like, what would our society be if it was just a nation of thinkers versus a nation of workers? Because right now there are thinkers out there, but those thinkers are like the top percent that like come up with things like streaming services or gear that people need. You know what I'm saying? Items that people need in their daily lives. So our society is great right now, but just think what it could be like if it was all thinkers instead of just workers.
The results of this philosophy speak for themselves. Now, however you feel about Jordan Peterson, it doesn't really matter. This has been noticed and discussed by people all around society. In one of his lectures, Noam Chomsky had a lot to say about this. First, he plainly says the same thing. The basic institutional role and function of the schools and why they're supported is to provide an ideological service. There's a real selection for obedience and conformity. Let me just tell you a personal story. My oldest friend, closest friend, is a guy who came to the United States from Latvia when he was 15. The first thing that struck him about American schools was the fact that if he got a C in a course, nobody cared.
Yep.
But if he went to school 3 minutes late, he was sent to the principal's office.
Okay, I know that's the norm, but it feels different hearing it out loud, you know? Coming in late, yeah, principal's office, but if you get a C, it's like, okay, well, you passed. Nobody really cares.
That's ultimately why public education was instituted in the United States, in place to meet the needs of a newly emerging industry. It's not often that both sides of the political spectrum can agree on the same thing, but here we have it plain as day. To change the fabric of society, they didn't put their focus on the adults. They targeted children, indoctrinating them when their brains were still vulnerable to these repetition techniques.
Hey, yo, real quick, shout out to the parents that homeschool their kids, but like not like homeschooling where they just here's a coloring book or a simple math textbook. Fill everything out up to this page and then turn it into me later, and then just walk off. Because then like the kid will be like, all right, well, I'm just gonna use my phone to find out all the answers. Ask Rock, like, or just a coloring book where kids just like, here, color, and like, here, mom, I did this. Like, shout out to the parents who actually teach their kids, like homeschool their kids and teach their kids like math, history, science, like all the basics. Shout out to those parents because it kind of skirts the indoctrination of the schools. You know what I'm saying? You can actually change the classes and shit as well for your kid. You know, you can have creative thinking time where like your kid has to do creative thinking so that they can practice that technique. Because right now in school it's pretty much just follow the rules and don't think for yourself. But if you're homeschooling your kid, you can have them think for themselves and teach them everything that you actually want them to teach them. So shout out to the parents that do that instead of parents that like don't really interact with their kids, unfortunately.
Every day was managed like the factory. They taught them to respond to the bell, to sit still and work for hourly periods, to blindly listen to the person in charge. These feedback loops repeated over and over again, year after year, changed society. Fast forward to today, and that education system is still pretty much the same, only it's been left to rot. In fact, for decades, kids were taught using a system that didn't actually teach children how to read. From around the late 80s to about a decade ago, schools across the West taught reading using the whole language system.
Imagine coming home as a parent or something and finding out your child can't read. Like, hold up, what do you mean you can't read? What do you mean? What do you mean? What does the menu say? Just read it. It's like it's right there. And then your kid's like, I can't read. What you mean you can't read? What were you going to school for this entire time? That's sad, bro. Damn, son.
It emphasized teaching kids to read by making them guess the meanings of words or phrases, rather than by sounding out the letters and actually understanding the word itself. Despite being proven as inferior and inadequate, whole language was still pushed for decades because it profited the people selling the learning materials. It was only when a 2022 investigation showed all of this that the farce finally ended. But by the time that scandal broke, an entire generation of children had already been failed by it. Some of them are now adults, walking around with high school diplomas they can't even read.
Bruh. When parents fail to actually raise their kids and then society ends up having to deal with them. No wonder there's so much like pain in the ass bullshit going on. And like eventually there's gonna be a fatigue. And when that fatigue happens, people are like gonna start getting like they ass whooped. Like it's like fights are going to start erupting everywhere and throughout cities, bro.
Take a light audit. A 19-year-old who just started her freshman year at the University of Connecticut. She graduated from the Hartford public school system last year. The only problem? She's completely illiterate.
Even today,
God
could
damn.
you read this, or would it take you a long time?
It's impossible. I just see his words everywhere.
Alicia graduated from the Hartford.
Grok, read this. Or ChatGPT, read this.
Public school system last year, but she says today she is illiterate. She
What
still
the
doesn't
fuck?
know how to read or write.
By high school,
Here, sign this contract. So yeah, we took your phone before you could come into the interview. But we're here. We need you to sign this contract. Yeah, there's no Grok, read this type shit. It's just him just sign it. And the contract reads, you owe us everything. We control your life for the next 70 years. You have to do everything we tell you to do, and there is no saying no to us.
she was using text-to-speech apps to fake her way through every single assignment.
So, if you had an assignment where you had to write something, you'd open up a document like this and then do what?
I would go here to use the text-to-speech.
It says dictate.
Dictate, yep. I love
It says
pizza.
dictate. Yeah, that.
This is how you would do your assignments. If you had to read something, that's how you do it.
Her mother begged the school for help for years and got nothing but empty promises.
Bro.
Now she's suing the Hartford Board of Education.
Yo, mom's trying to get paid, and she deserves to get paid. Her kid was going to school for how long, and even graduated, and her kid can't fucking read. Like, her kid may be able to get away with that shit at school, but like, again, let's go. They go to the restaurant. What do you want to eat? What's the menu say? What sounds good? What sounds good to you? Or what are you gonna have? Why don't you pick for yourself? The menu's right there. Just choose something. Bro, imagine going on a date and the bitch can't read. Imagine going on the date. She can't even. I don't know if I could date an illiterate bitch.
Whether you believe her story or not, profit became the incentive a long time ago for the people who are truly in power, who have no interest in educating people. And why would they want to educate regular people? They don't need factory workers anymore. Western nations aren't producer economies anymore, they're consumer economies.
And that's exactly what happened. American manufacturing collapsed. Yeah, and they did it all for money. And they did it all because they were greedy. They were already rich.
All you need to do to confirm this is to take a drive through any town or city in middle America. Poverty, deprivation, and hopelessness everywhere because the jobs just vanished.
They don't care that their grades are low. They don't care that they're not reading. And when I had honest conversations with some of my students, I got the constant refrain that nothing is going to work for them anyway. They're never going to be able to get ahead. They're never going to be able to own a home. They're never going to be able to raise a family like their parents and grandparents did. So why even try?
While this process began years before they entered the scene, the tech moguls have been...
Here, sign these marriage documents. 1 second, I gotta get my phone. What? Click. Grok, what is this? Or phone, what does this say? AI, what does it say? The AI starts speaking out loud. Blah, 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 blah. You're sitting there like, wait, what? What are you doing? Oh, I never told you? I can't read. This is how I figured out I forgot what things say. Excuse me. What? How did this entire time we've been dating for 10 years. This entire time you're just now telling me you can't read? Maybe 10 years is a little bit much. We've been dating for 3 years and now we're getting married. You tell me you can't read? Yeah, well, I'm getting this shit annulled. Sign here. Do you know how to write your name? You obviously know how to write your name, but they're just squiggles to you. You know what that says because you know it's your name. They're just squiggles to you, bitch. Squiggly ass bitch. Get it. Man, sign this shit. Here, marriage annulled. Squiggly ass
complicit
bitch.
in its completion. Now the middle class is evaporating and the working class don't work anymore. Now, regular people are only relevant as consumers, and to consume, you don't need any level of education at all. In fact, it actually gets in the way of it. The corporations which used to want workers have moved overseas to exploit cheaper labor. So at home in the US, they've been replaced by ones who specialize in extracting wealth.
Bro, I know I'm pausing a lot, but this is a reaction. So, and I got thoughts and ideas that come to my mind. I want to talk about it. This is the start of WALL-E. You remember in WALL-E where like people were just sitting in chairs and like just being moved around all the time, just fast fuck? This is the start of WALL-E. This is how it starts. First, people stop being able to read. They just default into consumerism. Next, I mean, Americans, especially women, are already as a total, they're fatter than they've ever been. So it's only a matter of time before it's just WALL-E. They can't read. They're gaining Americans, I guess, are can't read anymore. They're gaining weight. But now it's just until we have hover chairs. We already have AI. When we have hover chairs, it's gonna be like, shit. There's already big people that just use a little they go to the grocery store and they use those little motor scooters thingies to get around. They don't need it. It's for people who like crippled people, but they don't need it. They just use it anyway. And there's those scooters that you see people riding while you're driving around. Yeah, those green scooters shit. Instead of people walking and burning calories as they walk, get a scooter. People aren't exercising as much. It's only a matter of time until we're WALL-E. WALL-E was a premonition brought to you on a screen through animation. It was a warning, bro. Almost time. The Americans are slowly turning into the first WALL-Ians.
Gambling companies, price gouging grocery stores, and social media companies as the newest, most lucrative operations of all. In Idiocracy, the movie predicts that entertainment would eventually devolve into a mess of flashing colors and slapstick toilet humor. Ow My Balls was the most extreme version of this they could come up with. As we've seen already, it pales in comparison to modern brain rot. Brain rot ditches the complicated world building and context that Ow My Balls establishes in the first second or so. The algorithm would just see this as wasted time. It wouldn't work for the attention spans it's designed to cater to. We're 20 years from when YouTube was first released? What's entertainment gonna look like in another decade or so? TikTok's only been around for like 8 years. Well, like any addictive substance, brain rot has varying levels of strength. Adults might watch less offensive, slower paced, informative shorts with actual artistic value. But the real addicts, who are mostly children, need something a lot stronger. The social media companies, just like the tobacco companies before them, know that targeting new users is really all they need to do. If they can get someone hooked, then they've probably got a lifetime customer. This has been established for years.
Get them while they're young. I forgot, there was I forgot who it was, but there was somebody that is famous for saying that, pretty much talking about I think it was someone who someone in the cigarette industry. They talk about getting kids addicted young. He's like, hey, if you get them while they're young, you will have a lifetime subscriber.
A whistleblower who was interviewed by the Senate in 2021 said exactly this.
Facebook understands that if they want to continue to grow, they have to find new users. They have to make sure that the next generation is just as engaged with Instagram as the current one. And the way they'll do that is by making sure that children establish habits before they have good self-regulation.
By hooking kids.
By hooking kids.
Straight from the horse's mouth. Yet it's only now, 5 years later, that some impotent efforts have been made to stop kids getting hooked. It's far too little and too late. The lockdowns put this process into overdrive, separating kids almost entirely from their actual lives and locking them into the virtual worlds. Then they were just expected.
No wonder Facebook wanted to control Meta before it and jumped the gun.
To go back to normal straight after. Gen Z and older generations are hooked as well, just to varying degrees of severity. The problems with reading, as we saw, goes pretty far up the age range. It's a cultural shift towards ignorance and ultimately stupidity, the very definition of idiocracy. Lots of people have noticed these changes, but they don't always see them as negative. Francis Fukuyama, who many people see as the figurehead of neoliberalism and this brave new world we're now living in, clearly noticed it, but he only goes so far as to say this.
Yeah, no, I think that that's the way people communicate these days. It's, through these little snippets of ideas rather than whole coherent ideas, and I think it's pretty important. There's also, I think, a huge generational difference because people in my generation don't think that way.
Really though, it's a great tragedy. Imagine one person reads 10 classic books. Cover to cover, they take their time to absorb it and let it settle in. The other person follows the Tai Lopez method of reading instead, but they do it for 100 books or 1,000 of them. The difference is that a year later, the person who actually reads the books will probably still remember them. They'll have at least a vague idea of what happened, the characters, the ideas of it. The person who skim reads 1,000 books will probably barely remember any of it. And even if they do, they won't have internalized the story or really gotten the value out of them. You might have seen those videos online where an AI voice just describes the plot of a film. If you have, do you really remember those films? Did you really have any emotional impact or any meaning in your life compared to films you've actually seen properly? Now,
I've definitely never had AI to like describe a film to me or whatever. Who does that?
you've got people basing their entire belief system off snippets of ideas they saw on social media. Technology drained them of their ability to focus and actually think these ideas through, all while offering the junk food replacement as the solution to that problem. This is what's so terrifying about idiocracy. It just leads to totalitarian control. Tech oligarchs are now literally taking over the sources of information. They're tightening their grip on the distribution platforms, not only with social media.
I mean, at least some of them are trying to do good, I guess. Or at least that some of them seem like they might be doing good. Like with Elon Musk, I mean, he bought Twitter and pretty much gave back free speech on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good thing, right?
Media and influencers individually, but also the source of all content. Like when Bezos bought the Washington Post years ago and then stripped it of thousands of journalists and recently began pushing ideas and articles which suit his own interests in politics. After Musk took over Twitter.
That's fucked up. Oh wait, here's the Elon Musk part. Oh shit. Twitter with a tweet that asks, how much is it on Friday? Similarly as MSNBC, how much did it cost?
He has since joked about buying MSNBC. Larry Ellison, the multi-billionaire.
Okay. Well, there was nothing bad said about Twitter at least. But buying out MSNBC, I mean, hopefully he just do the same thing he did for Twitter. Just make sure it's like, free speech kind of shit and everybody gets their say and nobody's like blocked out on being able to express themselves.
Owner of Oracle, is the biggest culprit. He became a major stakeholder and controller of TikTok recently. Now he's masterminding the $111 billion merging of Paramount and Warner Bros. He already had his grip on CBS. This deal would give him CNN as well. These people may not be sitting at the editor's desk telling them what they should and shouldn't say, but there are of course certain implications, certain topics to hit or ignore, and general pressures towards certain views.
Yeah, media capture is about who actually controls the platforms and the channels that deliver news and information to us. And part of what we're trying to communicate is that it's increasingly a smaller and smaller number of people. That capture isn't just people buying, media properties so that they have it as like a vanity purchase. It comes with a real sense of power.
Despite the fact that nobody wanted it and the vast majority of people scrolled past it, Google has been desperate to push their AI overview answers to people's search queries. Lots of people explain this as just one thing tech companies are doing to justify the AI craze and to keep the bubble from popping. But as it takes over and people begin to actually use it, it creates a dangerous problem. Google just isn't.
Bro, have you heard about people falling with AI? Falling in love with AI bots. I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before the AI gets put into the robots, and and then China also has robots that can carry a baby up to term. All I gotta do is change when you're ready to start having kids and you have a robot. Just change out the interchangeable gut part or the womb part where the womb goes, and boom, you'll be able to have a kid with your robot after you go to the egg donation and buy some chick's eggs. Women that have to do, or women are about to start doing egg donations a lot more often.
Isn't really a search engine anymore. It's not just showing you what you were looking for, it's being a middleman, and their AI is the thing making contact with reality. The real information about the world, then it's passing on what it thinks is relevant to you. Google already controls what the AI thinks is relevant and what isn't. If they want to push a certain narrative, they can subtly leave out certain details from the AI summaries. As tech ownership of the media gets worse too, they'll replace more journalists and people with AI as well. This is already happening. Then they can have an AI emphasizing certain details and leaving out others in the stories it writes. Then they can distort that even more when it comes to people Googling it later, or watching things about it on social media. The truth of any story gets hidden behind these walls, and while you still might be able to get to it if you're determined enough, most people won't. In fact, thanks to AI brain rot and idiocracy, they won't care in the first place. The dictators of old used to have to burn books to stamp out knowledge and truth which didn't fit with their ideology and their worldview. Future dictators won't have to bother. The libraries will remain intact.
Think about how many books we lost because of that shit. Like, think how many secrets, how many like life-changing knowledge we lost because of the books was burned.
But the books will be covered with dust. Nobody will want to read them. Now, there's a lot of depressing things about living in idiocracy. At the end of that film, when Not Sure figures out he can't actually go back, he realizes it doesn't even matter. He found his home. As the world gets dumber, it doesn't stop you from being able to get smarter. Those books that the rest of the world are neglecting, all that knowledge and wisdom throughout history is still out there. That's not going to change. So if you can actually protect your attention span, build discipline, and actually work through hard ideas and long books, you'll feel like a superhuman. Even the tech oligarchs themselves aren't immune to their own idiocracy. Musk is probably more addicted to Twitter than anyone else on the planet.
Bro, he posts all the time. That can't be him posting, right? It's gotta be someone else posting sometimes, right? Because like, how do you constantly post on Twitter and still run all your little companies? Well, I guess he doesn't have to do much unless on some days. I don't know how like that should be. Is there a day in the life of Elon Musk video?
Mark Zuckerberg's replacing himself with an AI agent, and as the
oh my god, isn't that what this? Wasn't there a YouTuber that did that shit? Quebble Cop or something like that. He like tried to replace his whole operation, his YouTube operation, with AI. So he's got an AI him that does all the videos, and also he has AI that chooses a topic video, and an AI that plays Minecraft for him and records it for him, and then uploads it to YouTube for him. Like his whole he's trying to just print money. I respect it, but there's no like soul in it.
The world gets dumber, nurturing your own inner curiosity becomes that much more important. And if you can do that, you can be a wolf in a world of sheep. And thank you Fume for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check them out using the link in the description below.
Cool. Shout out to Moon for a great video again, for another great video. Let me know what y'all think about that in the comments below, because I'm telling you, I mean, it's not just idiocracy, but I think we're really on our way to becoming Wallians. Make sure you raise your kids right and not just like hand them a tablet or something to keep their attention. Interact with them and teach them shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe take them out of school and homeschool them if you can, because I mean, unless you just want your kid to be, especially if you're paying for private schools, and private schools start doing the same shit where your kid comes back from private school and they can't read either. God damn. But I don't know. I think parents should actually interact with their kids if they can. You know, teach them themselves and raise them your own way instead of letting schools and electronics raise them. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Peace. Much love to you.